guys, the Fire Brothers here, and I have a confession to make. I, the Fire Brothers, hate Transformers. But not as much as Lorenzo does apparently, because Lorenzo has opened up his mouth again, and your boy is doubling down in the... Oh, by the way, and by the time I'm reading this article, the article on the TFW website covering this, by the way, that's where I'm reading this from. I just want to say that they did a small grammatical error here, and I found it kind of hilarious. I just wanted to point that out. Anyways, so your boy's doubling down. Remember how Rise of the Beast ended in that awful, very awful G.I. Joe ending, you know, teasing that they're gonna appear in the universe? And look, if they appear in the universe is one thing, fine, you know, who cares? While, you know, the Autobots and the Decepticons are busy saving the world and destroying things and buildings and monumental cities and that kind of stuff, and the G.I. Joe are off doing whatever the G.I. Joe do, I'm completely fine with that, you know. But if we get the G.I. Joe like just fighting us alongside Optimus Prime because of the Decepticons and all that kind of stuff, I'm not for that at all. Because to be honest, and I mentioned this before, but I feel like that will be a return to the Michael Bay days. Now, I said that I personally don't think Rise of the Beast was that great. It was fine, it was okay, but we didn't need okay, we needed good. And, you know, since Rise of the Beast didn't deliver that, it just, I don't know, like, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a bit. But even then, we're still going in the right direction. But now Lorenzo wants to go back to the age of, you know, the American military, you know, the humans getting all the credits, the Decepticons being, you know, cannon fodder for our super cool, very hype human characters, despite the fact that we are only seeing these movies for the Transformers and we don't care for the humans at all, aside from Charlie, and Noah, and Elena, which, by the way, those three are the only humans in the movies I genuinely do like. Well, I guess we could also add Lennox and Epster, but that's besides the point. So listen to this. So by a one-take news, we have an exclusive interview with Lorenzo D. Buenaventura, who talks about the future of Transformers and G.I. Joe for the upcoming movies. So I'm just gonna read what this says and then, you know, basically break down what it truly means behind the lines. Transformers Rise of the Beast is the latest installment in the long-running and huge successful Transformers franchise, and it was such a breath of fresh air. It managed to adapt the fan-favorite Beast Wars storyline successfully while giving us endearing characters to watch. Just over a month after it hit theaters, you can watch it from the comfort of your own home and see the film, including that scene in full HD. For the Rise of the Beast home premiere, OTN spoke to long-time Transformers producer and one of the biggest names in Hollywood, Lorenzo D. Buenaventura, a guy who I still don't know how he keeps getting jobs. When we asked about the surprising ending, what it meant for the future of the franchise, here's what he had to say. I don't look at things like a universe, I look at them as a story, and the Joes will be part of that story. I also think the term crossover means different things from different people. For me, the Joes, wherever they are entering the world of Transformers. Not combining the two worlds, the plan is to eventually do a crossover. But for the next movie, it's the Joes that are coming in for whatever the ending of Rise of the Beast has led us to believe is possible. When asked to clarify if Transformers and G.I. Joe characters would just coexist for now or interact, D. Buenaventura explained upon this. Oh, they will interact. We haven't developed a script yet. What I will say is just like we do with every other movie, it will be a team of Transformers and humans fighting to fight. The Joes will be a part of it. So, okay, so what you're telling me is that you don't have a plan. You ended Rise of the Beast with a blatant teaser and you don't have a plan. Aside from including them just to save the dying G.I. Joe brand. The movie one. I don't know how well the toys are doing, but that's besides the point. Plans for these two Hasbro franchises to cross over have been attempted for decades, but this is the first time the two franchises have acknowledged each other in the live-action films. Due to the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes, it might be a while before a script is developed, but that's the price to pay for equality and fair play in Hollywood. However, once the film's finally released, we'll sure it will be a blast. So that's basically what the article said and what Lorenzo said. Now, I want to add my own personal comment on this, and I want to say, how can there be a human being that's so tonally deaf as Lorenzo? Jesus Christ, oh my god. When Lorenzo came in that interview and said that, oh, fans have been asking for decades to have the G.I. Joe appear in the movies, we decided to deliver. I'm sorry, look, I don't speak for the whole Transformers fandom. I think that's clear, you know, it should be obvious, I shouldn't have to tell you this, but in my years, talking to all the individuals out there, I am pretty sure that less than 5% ever brought up G.I. Joe at all. There was the occasional talk about a potential crossover, yes, because that's something that happened in the comics, but as for people straight up wanting that, I don't think there was a huge demand for it. And I said this before, to me this comes off as desperate and more of a G.I. Joe leeching of the franchise as opposed to something like, you know, two successful franchises coming together for a collab that's super cool and really fun for its fans. If you guys remember the last G.I. Joe movie, you know, lost money, Snake Eyes, lost money. These movies are not good, you know, I know that's very ironic considering that, you know, the Transformers movies are pretty 50-50 in terms of quality, and that's still being really generous. But at least they make money. G.I. Joe can't even do that right. So yeah, I do think G.I. Joe is leeching off the franchise, and I do think there's a desperate move by Hasbro and Paramount to make the G.I. Joe movies relevant again, in some way, shape, or form. And also, I don't like this because look, as much as I complain about Rise of the Beast, I will still admit that it was a step in the right direction. It just needed to like double down or go a bit harder on, you know, what it was set out to do. Extra emphasis on the robots, devaluing the humans a bit more, and having a bigger emphasis on an interesting story, like with the morally ambiguous Optimus Prime this time around. That was good. Genuinely something good, a breath of fresh air that Michael Bay movies unfortunately didn't do. And granted, it still did some things wrong, like the stupid, you know, easy way that the Autobots and humans took down some of the terror conflicts. Yet again, another MacGuffin that our heroes need to like gather, keep away from the enemy, destroy or whatever. It's been done to death, and I wish they stopped doing that. The first Transformers movie, you know, didn't have an army of faceless protophones for the Autobots to fight, and it was still a pretty good movie and pretty good final fight scene. Why can't we just do that instead of just spawning the army out of nowhere? But that's besides the point. If you take a look at the comments in the TF2005 website, most people are like lambasting Lorenzo and saying how stupid he is. There were a few people defending him, and to be fair, some of their arguments are pretty okay. You know, for all we know, the G.I. Joe crossover could be good, but I don't know, like, look, we already had a G.I. Joe crossover. It was called Transformers X the American Military. That's what we saw for most of the movies, you know, taking down Decepticons pretty easy, arguably pretty easy. Like, having the G.I. Joe here will basically catapult us back to the days of Michael Bay. You know, albeit probably without, you know, the weird Michael Bay humor that no one understood, and, you know, the Transformers not getting enough screen time. You know, while we're probably not gonna go back fully to those days, I do feel like the G.I. Joe crossover is a step on the wrong direction. Will I be checking it out if it does come out? Yes, but I will do that very reluctantly. And if I had a choice, I'd rather not pay for it. If, you know, I mean, if it's really good, yeah, you know what, fine. I'll gladly pay for it. I'll gladly go see the movie. I'll support it and sing its praises. But I think that, you know, this is a horrible idea. I feel like, you know, the track record with the Michael Bay movies and the overemphasis on the American military and the Joes are basically that, but not really. I don't know, I don't like it. It really rubs me the wrong way, and I really wish Lorenzo stopped doing this. Something else that he also mentioned was the writer strike that's currently going on. I'm not gonna talk too much about it because, you know, it's basically, you know, writers and some, you know, Hollywood people, you know, striking for better wages and stuff like that. It's something that happened before, and funnily enough, this is actually the same thing that kind of screwed the Transformers movies over during Revenge of the Fallen, because there was a similar strike happening by the time of Revenge of the Fallen and its release, and that's the reason why the Revenge of the Fallen script was so messy and almost non-existent, because there weren't any real writers there to, like, you know, make a decent script. So it looks like at least Lorenzo has learned from his mistakes and, you know, is deciding to wait a bit longer for the strike to end and for things to go back to normal before just, you know, kickstarting the next Transformers movie right off the bat. We still have Transformers 1 next year, so at least we have that to look forward to. I'm actually a bit more excited for that than I was for Rise of the Beast. I have a really good feeling about Transformers 1, even though I do feel a bit annoyed by the casting choices and voice actors. I still see a lot of promise in that movie. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what the future awaits. But I want to pass on the question up to you guys. Are you guys excited for this? Did you ask for this at all? Do you want Lorenzo to bring the G.I. Joe over to the Transformers universe and, you know, relive the glory days of the Bayverse? Which, look, as much as I like the Bayverse and as much as I criticize Rise of the Beast, I don't want to go back to those days. I feel like a lot of people, especially those who criticize people like me who, you know, say that Rise of the Beast isn't that good of a movie, you know, just misinterpret us and say, oh, you know, those guys just want to go back to the Bayverse. Those movies weren't even that good. And yeah, look, I'll admit, the main movies weren't that good, with the exception of Dark of the Moon and, you know, the first movie. Like, those are like the two movies I would genuinely say they're good, if not entertaining to watch. But that doesn't mean that for a second I want to go back to the days of The Last Night, Age of Extinction, or Revenge of the Fallen. And I feel like this direction that Lorenzo's taking is gonna, you know, set us on a very dark path. And I'm honestly hoping that if he does bring the Joes over, they don't take the spotlight away from the Transformers. But we'll have to wait and see. So yeah. Also, before you ask, Steven is fully on board for the G.I. Joe crossover too, and I'm not happy about that. God damn it, Steven! You guys already know my opinion. I made it very clear. I'm not in favor of this. I think Lorenzo's doing a stupid mistake. But then again, it's Lorenzo, so what do I expect? But all we can do now is wait and see and hope that things don't, end up worse than they already are. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully you'll enjoy. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that annoying YouTubers start to the algorithm like so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, guys. Anyways, guys, before we go, shout out to our super incredible patrons: Predator King Hunter Plays, Scrub Lordo, Omega Trion 2006, Stitch Productions, Xavier the God, Ender Skiers, Up Nation Reviews, James Newbold, DJ Universe, Tristan Curry, Stellar, Allspark Studio, Super Sailor Formers Hedgehog, Cuber 9 Gaming, Rich Cracker 64 Studios Productions, Crazy T-Rex, King Sparta, Legend of Soup, Itiodobot Side of J, Crawley 666, Itsuki, and TF Cypher. And shout out to our incredible big bold Patreons, Jordan the Great and Next North 23, who donated a amount of money. I still won't tell how much it was. But anyways, if you join my Patreon, you get a few rewards. You can watch some of my videos early. You can request a collab with me, some of my videos or your videos, depending on your choosing. You can request some videos from me, get early looks at some videos that I'm doing and even some that I haven't published quite yet. The list goes on. Keep in mind that it's entirely optional because freedom's the right of all sentient beings. Thank you to my patrons for donating, it's much appreciated. Be sure to go and check out their channels. They could use all the help they can get. Some of them do Transformers content like I do, and some of them do whatever other funny thing they can come up with. We have quite a diverse selection here. But yeah, as always, guys, thank you so much for your support. It's much appreciated. And I'll see you all in the next video. Stay safe, guys.